test. I think that sounds good. Turn those off. All right, welcome everybody, Canhammer TV, for tonight's episode of Cardboard versus Plastics, episode 2. And tonight I am going to unbox the game Escape Plan by Lacerda, published by Eagle-Gryphon Games. My history with Lacerda games is short but interesting. So if you don't know, Lacerda is known for designing very heavy, complex Euro games that are very thematic and extremely beautiful. And his partnership with various artists and with Eagle-Gryphon Games has produced some of the most beautiful board games you've ever seen on a table, and with high table presence, take up a lot of space, fairly difficult to teach, games that require playthrough multiple times to really get a sense of where you're going, but very, very rewarding games. If you like to really get deep into a game to figure out, how to play it, these are the games for you. They take commitment, and but if you can get there, it's definitely worthwhile. So, and those are Lacerda games. So tonight we will be opening my third Lacerda game, Escape Plan, which many people say is a little bit different from his other games. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, still fairly complex compared to most board games, and with an interesting theme that I found quite different, and that's one of the main reasons I got it. But my other two Lacerda games, so Kanban EV, which is about building electric vehicles, and The Gallerist, which is about running a art gallery, definitely two of my more favorite games to play if I have the time and people to play them with. So hopefully this third Lacerda game in my collection will be the same. So tonight we'll be opening this game live for you here. I will be assisted by my daughter, who's not going to say anything and remain off camera, but you might see some little hands excitedly getting in there and ripping things open and punching things out. If you've never, obviously if you're tuning in, you must have played some board games before, but for me, one of the greatest joys of board gaming is opening a new game. Not only because it's like a new game, but it's the tactile experience of ripping the shrink off, lifting that suctioned lid off for the first time, that kind of pop, and seeing what's in there, everything in its pristine state, beautifully packed, maybe never to be packed as well again, and looking at the inserts, the components, and popping out those cardboard bits. And I gotta say that if I had to compare popping cardboard to cutting plastic miniatures off sprue, popping cardboard wins every time. And Lacerda games, produced by Eagle-Gryphon, make super nice chunky cardboard bits that are really nice to pop. So that is the tactile experience of opening a new board game. And so we're going to be experiencing some of that tonight. Tonight's show is not a playthrough, it's not a review, it's not a how to play. That is all still coming. Tonight we're just cracking this thing open so you can see what's inside and see if such a game would interest you. If you've got the time to invest, I highly recommend these games. Okay, before we get into that, just some quick other announcements. So if you follow us on Facebook, you will have heard that I'm no longer streaming on Twitch. I've decided to simplify my life and just stream directly to YouTube, and only YouTube. So here we are. And that is significantly changed my workflow and made my life easier already, even just from tonight. So that is what's going to happen. If you go to the Twitch, you won't see anything. You'll just see a message saying find us on YouTube. And so we'll just be here from now on. Please feel free to chat and ask questions or whatever. The chat is completely free. You don't need to pay $20 to ask a question. Whatever you like to ask, just put it on chat. And hopefully people enjoy the stream. So without further ado, let's cut over to the table. All right, just gonna move myself over here. Okay, so here we have our copy of Escape Plan. So the first thing you'll notice is that this is a very big box. So here's my hand, here's Charlotte's hand, and it's a big box, and that is the way Lacerda games are. The box is very thick. I mean, half the thickness of my hand, and it is very heavy because there's a lot of stuff in it. And so you know you are getting your money's worth with these games. There's no jiggling around in here. Often they are packed with very nice inserts that keeps everything in perfect place, and it fits to the millimeter, which I really like about it. So anyway, without further ado, let's get this shrink off. Oh, before we do that, let's look at the back. Okay, so the back of board games is often ignored. In fact, we don't really look at the back of board games too often, but it's a nice sort of summary of the game, all the crazy number of components you get. There's a QR code for videos, and there's some videos online, although not that many. So when we make ours, it might add to what's out there. And you can see the sprawl of the game is super nice. So anyway, I don't know how we managed to keep this down here for a week and not open it. So finally, we get to finally open it. So here we go. Usually we open a game within a few hours of getting it, but somehow this managed to be unscathed. Okay, here we go. Here comes that satisfying lift and the suction. Okay, sometimes there's stuff on the inside of the cover, and this cover is blank, which is fine. And here we have the usual advertisements for things. And we have the rule book, which is not too thick, and looks like it is fairly comprehensive. Nice paper, magazine quality, and lots of pictures, which I like, and examples. In my experience, the rule books for the Lacerda games have been very good, excellent, and very thorough, and not really, you know, can't go wrong with the rule books. They're usually pretty good, and of course videos are helpful too. This is the kind of game where you're not going to be able to learn to play just by reading the rule book. I find a combination of video and rule books is the best way to go. But yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so here we are, some punch boards, and you can just see the thickness of this cardboard. It's really nice. And Charlotte, do you want to make the first punch? Not literally punch it. There we go. So this is one of the matte pieces, and it's very nice and super thick. That's at least like 2 to 3 millimeters thick, and printed on both sides, and super nice. And so we got one sheet here. Put that aside.
Can I pop it?
2 sheets. Okay. Won't pop for now. There's another sheet there. We don't want to pop it all out right now. As amazing as that would be to just sit here and pop on stream, not very entertaining for people to watch. Okay, here's the money, which is pretty cool. Okay, and then here we see the player boards, and as with all the Eagle-Gryphon games that I've played anyway, the player boards are dual layered, so that means that there's actually a cutout for putting your tokens so that they don't slide around, which I really love. You can see, so the theme of this game is that you're a criminal who has done a heist, and you've stashed money around the city, and you have 3 days to get out of the city with your stash. And so this looks like a suitcase that's been opened, and inside the suitcase you got a slot for keys, you got all your stuff, and these little slots for your contacts. So it's really cool because it looks like a suitcase, and so I really like that. Adds to the theme and the immersion. So we got a number of player boards here, 5, and again these are super thick and they're dual layered. Okay, here is just some packing, looks like.
Ooh.
Here's the board, and these are the player screens. So it's like a screen that kind of hides your money, and they look like a bag full of money, which is pretty cool. All right, we've got looks like a stash and some things to pop. And then we have the board. Before we crack open the board, let's just look at the insert. So first of all, the insert is covered, which is nice because the cover supports all the hard things, the player boards and the board, and supports and doesn't crush anything. Super nice. Also helps pack it down and keeps things from moving around in their slots. And then as usual, there's lots of insert space. Not always exactly clear where to put everything, and it looks like this is kind of a dump all spot. Looks like a lot of the plastic components are packaged in the plastic.
Wow.
As with the quality of the components is always high. Super wooden printed meeple pieces. And it's always obvious what the pieces are because they're always printed. You've got red cops here and blue cops, player pieces looks like. You got our biker gang pieces here. See that?
Cool.
It's like little bikes printed. Okay. Super cool. Then we've got cards. Nicely packaged cards with easy to peel wrapping, which I really like. Sometimes you get these cards that don't have the easy peel, and it's really hard to get it started without scratching the cards with your nail or something. So that's super nice. Then we have a bag. Whoa, feel this bag, Shar. It's like a felt, soft, felty bag with a drawstring. Really nice. That's like one of the nicer bags in a game that we've got.
I'm dying to touch that again.
Any game must come with its own supply of Ziploc bags. If a game does not come with that and it has a ton of components, that's not good. A score pad and some more cards down here. Some police cards, player aids. Okay. So that is pretty cool. And of course, everything gets inserted and then all the hard stuff goes on top. Okay. So let's, oh, sorry about that. My microphone thing came off. Okay, let's look at the board. Now this board is probably not going to fit on stream because it's too big. But let's see how we do. If it's anything like the other Lacerda games, it will be way too big to fit on stream. Okay.
Way too big.
Yeah. So that is pretty big. Oh, it does fit on stream. There we go. Okay, so that is a big board. That's my hand. And that is one side, actually. It's double-sided. I'm not sure the difference between the sides right now. I'm sure we'll find out. It's probably number of players. Yeah, so this is the 1 to 3 side, and the other side is 4 to 5 players. But that's a big board. It's super thick. It's very well kind of welded together because you find that when you open and close boards a lot, they become detached. And this is seriously chunky. It looks like it's kind of like a police map that's been worn out. Look, there's like coffee stains. It's really quite cool. And you know, the iconography is there. There's a lot of it, but it's not overwhelming. You know, sometimes you look at these boards and it's just too much stuff.
Reminds me of Pandemic, the coffee stains.
And despite the complexity of his games, the boards are usually not too bad. I think the one exception to that is probably Weather Machine. Seems very overwhelming, the board, just to look at it, especially when everything's on it. But this looks like it's fairly good. Of course, all the map pieces will go in here and then everything else. So that's a cool board. All right. Okay. All right, so that is basically it. This is a little unboxing video of this game. We won't bore you with popping out all the cardboard chunks, although in future unboxings, if people want us to just sit here and pop out cardboard, we can definitely do that. But this is the unboxing of Escape Plan by Vital Lacerda, published by Eagle-Gryphon Games. And we will be coming back with how-tos and playthroughs as soon as we can. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for subscribing and following and being patrons. We'll be back later this week with the return of Custodes Tactica for 40K. So do tune in for that. Otherwise, everybody can have a good night and we'll see you next time.